So I got a Nintendo Switch 2. I took 2 weeks off work to play the Switch 2 when it first came out. So I had a lot of time to really appreciate it and enjoy it. So this is going to be my impressions of the Switch 2 and everything I like about it, everything I don't like about it. I am not a big YouTube channel, so you don't have to worry about me giving any biased opinions. I'm a normal person who paid for this with my own money. I stood in line at 2 o'clock in the morning and waited for 2 hours. I tried to go in spending the least amount of money, but I know that was kind of impossible. So I got the bundle with Mario Kart World, and I did not get any controllers or accessories or carrying cases or anything. I just got the console with Mario Kart, and I got Donkey Kong Bonanza. So those are the only purchases I made for the Switch 2 since I've got it, because I am broke, and I just 100%ed Donkey Kong Bonanza, one of the best games I've ever played in my life. I want to make a separate video about that, but I want to let you guys know that if you choose to get a Nintendo Switch 2, definitely pick up that game. I had so much fun with it. I was entranced by it, man. It was so good, and I love all the callbacks and everything. The Nintendo Switch 2 is an insane portable console with the power to deliver deeply immersive games, if developers decide to, and I want to give you my thoughts on everything. In every way, the Nintendo Switch was a natural combined evolution of every Nintendo console released up to this point, and with Switch 2 we are getting that plus more. I've heard reports saying it's at least at the power level of the PS4 Pro or Xbox Series S, which in my mind is more than enough power to create unique handheld experiences, and I feel like the Switch 2 would be a great system to own as a portable device. So I'm gonna go through everything, starting with the game screen. Coming from the Nintendo Switch 1, I felt like the screen size was a very nice upgrade. I never had the Switch OLED, so I don't understand what people are complaining about with the blacks and everything not being right. Compared to my cell phone screen, it's a little bit off, but I understand that OLED screens are expensive. I don't play the console in handheld most of the time. I mostly have it docked, but having it handheld and having a nice, decent screen like that is just really nice, because yeah, if they put the OLED screen in it, it would have been way more expensive, and it was already expensive to begin with. So when I was a kid, my family would go on road trips, and me being as addicted to video games as I was, I had to deal with the fact that I could not continue playing video games on the trip. And I was thinking about it the other day, like, you know, kids today don't have to deal with that. I remember this one road trip we went on, my parents got this new minivan, and it had like a flip down screen off the top, and it was like not even like standard definition. It was like super low, really cheap LCD screen, and I found a component cable hookup in the back of the van. I got an AC adapter that plugs into the cigarette lighter, and I plugged the Wii into it, and boom, I was playing games on the ride up. The screen was terrible, but that's what I had to do. And you know, kids today don't even have to do that anymore. And even the audio was bad. I couldn't get audio off of it, so I was just kind of stuck listening to like whatever my parents were listening to on the radio on the ride up there. But it's just crazy to think how far things have come. Like, kids don't ever have to unplug from these experiences. I'm very thankful and grateful for the Switch and the Switch 2's like portable capabilities. If I had this when I was a kid, things would be very different. But then I've also learned that it's okay to unplug sometimes, so I don't know if like some kids today will be able to. So that's kind of like a worry too. But anyway, yeah, the game screen is fine. I like the game screen. Gamepad! So I was pretty upset because when I brought the console home for the first time, my third-party controllers would not work for it. So I have these 8-bit DOE controllers that also can switch to PC controllers, and I've been using that exclusively for all my consoles. I even bought an adapter to make it work on my PlayStation, and I like the idea of having the same controller across all consoles. Unfortunately, it will not work with the Switch 2. I called Nintendo and they said that they can't guarantee, so I'd have to just wait for an update or something like that. But I'm very upset because I really like that controller. I got like a nice case with it and everything. I might do a video on it. I'm really into the idea of having one controller for everything, but it's fine. I got over it. It's kind of BS. I had a Switch 1 controller that I had in a box somewhere. I had it hooked up to like a portable battery to play my Switch 2 for the first time. It's fine. I got over it. It's good. The Switch 1 Pro controller is good too. The Switch 2 Pro controller is really nice because the buttons are bigger. It feels a lot better in the hands, and the haptics are better. Also, you can wake the console from sleep. So every time I want to play my Switch 2, I have to turn it on and then quickly sync the controller before it goes back to sleep. So I have to get up off the couch to turn the console on. But you know what? It's fine. I'll get over it. The new Joy-Cons are way better than the Switch 1 Joy-Cons. And from what I've read, they still drift, which is disappointing. But I guess making controller sticks that are that small and in that form factor has its drawbacks from an engineering standpoint. So I'm not trying to defend Nintendo, but like, you know, kind kind of hard to make a control stick like that and also durable, even though Nintendo was known for durability for years. And yeah, the Switch 2 Pro Controller has headphone jack on it, but it's fine because I have Bluetooth headphones that connect directly to the Switch 2, and I can disconnect it by holding the home button whenever I want. So it's fine for me. But yeah, right now the Switch 2 Pro Controller doesn't warrant a $100 purchase for me.
Game key cards.
So one of the biggest disappointments to come from this new Nintendo console generation is the mishandling of physical games. I don't know if a game is going to be physical when it's announced, and that really bothers me because I love having a collection and I love the stability of knowing that the game will work in a couple years when the servers go down. Nintendo is only letting third parties purchase a 64 gigabyte cartridge for publishing their games, which is pretty expensive. It costs like $15 per cart, and Nintendo releases will mainly be on cartridges. But because of this, I don't think I'm going to be buying a lot of Switch 2 games because developers and publishers, they don't have the budget to really spend $15 extra on making the game a physical game. They're businesses. It makes sense, you know? Game key cards are just a cheaper solution for third parties. Basically, it's selling a key to unlock a download on your console. But like the whole point of having a game physically is to free up storage space, right? I don't see myself owning a single game key card. I feel like Nintendo should address this issue, or publishers should just offer up a physical version of their game and just add the $15 onto the price of it and be like, hey, you know, you have to understand this is how it goes. I mean, some publishers aren't going to do that because they're pro-consumer, but you know, they should have that like option for people that want to collect, right? Software sales on the original Switch broke records. I understand these cartridges are not cheap, but removing the ability for people to own their games physically is bullshit.
Game share.
So there's this new feature for the Switch 2 that lets you play a game with another Switch 2 or Switch 1 console. It's basically DS download play from back in the day. So what we used to be able to do on the DS was if someone had one game card, they could download a part of the game to other DSs. Like for example, in Mario Kart DS, we can all play, but the drawback would be the people that don't have the cartridge have to play a Shy Guy. So on Switch 2, this feature works with compatible games and even works over the internet, which is really cool. If you have a Switch 2, definitely look into it because it's a really cool idea. And it's a really cool idea to like keep the Switch 1 kind of hanging around. Let's say you're a kid and you have a bunch of friends that have Switches and not everyone has a Switch 2 yet. You can still play with them if they have a Switch 1. You know, it's just a cool way to do it. And according to developers, you can also use this feature to download data to a Switch 1 if you have one still, like me, and use your Switch 1 as a controller for your Switch 2. This would be a great way to bring back some Wii U games and have the gamepad functionality, or just create new games that use a second screen. Of course, this hasn't been implemented yet, and Nintendo hasn't officially said that this is possible, but technically this is possible, so that's pretty exciting. It's a cool creative possibility. It's up to the developers, unfortunately, and it would be another reason not to sell your Switch 1.
Game chat.
So Nintendo finally has voice chat. The coolest thing about game chat is not the voice chatting, is the fact that you can see one of your friends pop up online and then you can invite them to a game chat, which is basically a phone call. I mean, you could just call their cell phones, but it feels like a very Nintendo-like phone call. It's a great feature. I wish it wasn't locked behind a paywall or a pay to press button with the C button. I played Mario Kart World with game chat with my buddy once. Only one time with the camera and everything, and it was just kind of pointless. It was like, okay, whatever, we could just talk on our cell phone. Like, it doesn't make sense, but it's really cool to like share your screen with them and like play games with them and see what they're doing. But I'd always leave it full screen. I don't like having the screens at the bottom unless there's a purpose for me seeing what they're doing. It's a good feature. It would be nice to also have the ability to send messages like I can do on the Xbox 360 back in the late 2000s. I mean, I'm just saying, like, you know, using the Switch app, you know, I can send a message to someone, or like, I don't know. Nintendo weird. Anyway.
Game Boy!
We got classic filters for N64 games and GameCube games. Okay, cool. Yeah. Okay, cool. All right, why does it have to be tied to the Switch 2? Whatever, okay.
GameCube!
So the introduction of the GameCube to the Nintendo Switch is kind of fumbled in my opinion. I mean, Soul Calibur 2 is really cool, but we got the worst version of Wind Waker. The Wii U version of Wind Waker made so many quality of life improvements to the game and overall fixed so many things, like adding the Swift Sail so you don't have to, like, you know, manually change the wind every single time. You just had the sale that just would change the wind for you, you know, stuff like that. And it's kind of insulting that they're giving us the original game stuck in 4:3, which means you can't play this in widescreen. I don't understand. There's also input lag. I'm really happy to be playing F-Zero GX, and it's the only game in so far next to Strikers, because I think Super Mario Strikers does it too, where you can play it in widescreen, because it was an original feature when the game released in 2003. So if you go into the options in the game, you can change it to widescreen. That's kind of bullshit, honestly. And I've also said this in a previous video. I was hoping that they'd remaster F-Zero GX, but I guess we're not going to get a remaster like anytime soon, because why would they offer that? That would just like kill the sales of the remaster if anyone could just play it on their Switch too. Like, I love the game. The game is great, but I would have loved a remaster. That's all I'm saying. All in all, I think it's complete bullshit that they only gave us 3 games on release. I don't want to promote this, but there are illegal ways to play all these games with widescreen and mods and better frame rate and, you know, everything. And that's every game on the GameCube. You can go and play every single game on the GameCube if you really wanted to with mods and everything. I wouldn't recommend that because that's illegal. The fact that Nintendo's given us 3 of them and they're in terrible shape is bullshit. And I would love to own one of those GameCube controllers if they ever go back in stock, because it's one of my favorite controllers of all time. And that's the best part about the whole GameCube rollout, is that we can get a wireless GameCube controller now and you can play it with other Switch games, which is really fun. So I look forward to that, and hopefully they, you know, they make like a 4K update for Super Smash Brothers, and then I'll be definitely getting that controller at that point.
Game prices! We're past the 10-minute mark. Are you still here? Thank you. Please, I appreciate if you subscribe.
So I have a lot to say on this topic. There was a time when Nintendo was 3rd place in the console war and thus had to separate themselves from their competitors by doing things like offering different gameplay opportunities or affordable options. They have adapted to the industry, which is kind of impressive. They're still surviving now. Nintendo's no longer in 3rd place. The Nintendo Switch sold a lot and sales are really healthy now. So from a business perspective, it makes sense for these companies to constantly push the line when it comes to getting more money from the customers and move to increase game prices. But it's, in my opinion, a huge step back. If a game comes out and it's too expensive and doesn't sell, they would have to, you know, pull a Ubisoft and cut the price. Unfortunately, they don't have to. The system and the games are selling really well, so the gamers should be the ones at fault here for letting that happen. You can look into all the details and reasons why games are so expensive now, but for me, it always goes back to, well, why not have the market advantage by offering these games at a lower price compared to the competitors to cement the Switch 2 as a platform to own? So in conclusion, you know, I feel yucky about the raise in game prices, and the response for me personally will be just not to buy as many games. I'm gonna make a separate video about Mario Kart and Donkey Kong. Thank you for watching all the way to the end. I really hope you subscribe. Really sorry for my absence from the channel. I've been working on other projects and they've been pulling my attention, and I'm going to make more videos in the future. I'm just really busy, unfortunately. Also, my last video, I did like a face reveal and it was like my least viewed video. So I guess I'm not doing face reveals anymore. It's just gonna be my disembodied voice over gameplay, because apparently that's what you guys want. And that's fine with me because that's less edit and I can get more videos out. But I guess apparently you guys don't like my face. But anyway, thanks for watching or listening. I appreciate you guys. Thanks for being patient with me too. And I will see you in the next video that hopefully won't take another couple months to come out. So yeah, bye.